This is the Realme GT5, the phone we are going to be taking a detailed look at in today's video. Hey guys, my name's Ash, you're watching C4eTech, and let's get started. The GT5, it looks nice. Realme seems to have taken a page out of Google's playbook with this camera visor to the back. It's much larger than Google's own though. That said, just like with the Pixel phones, given how this camera array is, you get to set the GT5 on a surface and use it comfortably without any wobbling. Now when you look at the camera visor closer, I'm sure you'd get some Xiaomi Explorer vibes. We can see the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 mentioned here. Of course, this is not the actual SoC that's exposed, just a cool visual representation underneath, and it's surrounded by RGB lights. Now, unlike on the GT3 or the GT Neo 5, the LED ring here, it's broken up. One could say it has a tinge of nothing to it. The back, it's glass. Realme calls this miracle glass since it seamlessly flows onto the camera visor. I for one really like how they've done this. This finish you're seeing here, they call it liquid silver mirror, and as the name indicates, it's gotten a mirror-esque finish that's pretty glossy and very prone to fingerprints. Realme does offer another colorway in Star Mist Oasis. This comes with a matte finish and should be less prone to smudges. Now, regardless of the color you choose, the sides, to me at least, they do give off old Samsung vibes with that glossy plastic. Is it just me or can you see it too? Anyways, there is nothing here to the left. Up top, we've got the secondary speaker, IR blaster, and a noise cancelling microphone. The power and volume keys are located to the right, and at the bottom, there's the primary speaker and mic on either side of the USB Type-C port, and at one corner, we've got the SIM tray. I'm sure you'd have noticed by now that there is no headphone jack or support for microSD, and despite the rubber grommet here, the GT5 has no official IP rating. For what it's worth, it does have NFC though. Now in hand, the Realme GT5, it feels quite nice. It's super slippery, but this camera visor, it feels like a natural place to rest your fingers on. The 205 gram weight feels evenly spread, and the 75mm width coupled with the back curving inwards, it kinda helps with ergonomics. Do note that while the back does curve inwards, the display doesn't. And Realme claims a 93.7% screen to body ratio thanks to these super slim bezels. Now the panel you're seeing here, it's 6.74 inches 10-bit OLED. The resolution is 1.5K, giving the GT5 a very respectable 450 pixels per inch pixel density. Now the refresh rate is 144Hz, there is no LTPO tech, but there is support for HDR10+, and this panel peaks at 1400 nits. So overall, it's a very nice OLED panel that should make for a good experience if you want to watch videos or game on it. Now this experience is also further improved thanks to the stereo speaker setup. The sound output is quite loud and rich. Now the gaming part of it, that's helped along by the presence of strong internals. The Realme GT5 is powered by Qualcomm's flagship Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, and Realme has also thrown in a dedicated graphic chip to help interpolate frames and hit higher frame rates. Now the interesting part here is that Realme claims to be using a new 9-layer cooling system to handle the heat, but in my initial testing, the GT5 was not even able to get through a 3D Mark Wildlife Extreme stress test. The app shut down midway due to the phone heating up. I tried running it with GT mode on and off, and that didn't seem to make any difference. Another claim is Realme saying you can keep up to 76 apps in memory with the 24GB RAM variant. Once again, in my testing, my 24GB GT5, it seemed to top out at 46. Now, I'm not really complaining about 46 apps in memory, and to be fair, it's only been a couple of days since the phone launched here in China, and Realme, if I recall, has already pushed out an update, so hopefully these minor niggles can be addressed quickly with more updates. Now this particular SKU, as I mentioned, this is the 24GB RAM variant, LPDDR5X. It comes with a terabyte of UFS 4.0 storage. Honestly, 24 gigs of RAM, it's nothing more than bragging rights, because there's really no scenario under which you'd need that much RAM. That said, the reason why I bought this SKU is because this is the only one that comes with support for 240 watt charging. Now, the last time around with the GT3, Realme claimed a charging time of 9 minutes and 30 seconds, though real-world testing showed it being closer to 11. Once again, I'm not complaining about 11-minute charging, but when I saw that this time Realme wasn't even claiming any official charging times for the 240 watt version, I kinda got curious. I wanted to see if they actually hit the sub 10-minute charge times with the GT5, but in reality it seems to have gotten slower. In my testing, the GT5 took about 14 minutes to fully charge. It is still faster than the 80 minutes the other 150 watt version takes, but not by much. Anyways, those other SKUs 12256 and 16512, they come with 150 watt chargers in the box, and they also get higher capacity batteries, 5240 mAh compared to 4600 on my unit. Now on the software side of things, we have Realme UI 4 built on top of Android 13, and given it's only available in China as of now, it did come with a lot of bloat. But all these apps, they are mostly uninstallable, and the phone actually cleans up quite nicely. Do note that even then there are certain places where you're going to be seeing annoying recommendations, which sadly seems to be the norm for Realme these days. That said, there are also some cool things that Realme allows for. For example, pull this sidebar and any app you launch from here opens as a floating window. Now you can resize these apps, place them on a corner or tuck them away to the edge. You can also quickly go full screen by double tapping. For multi-window functionality, a quick 3-finger swipe triggers it, and you now get to use 2 apps on the same screen. Realme also allows you to select up to 6 games for the phone to keep in memory, so you don't need to wait an extra couple of seconds to get back into your favorite game. And the LED to the back, you can now set it to sync with ringtones. Very nothing-ish, isn't it? You can even have contact-specific light effects if you so choose to. There are multiple options available here. Barring these, your regular slew of customization options for themes, always on, they're all present and accounted for. Overall, the user experience here, given the hardware, it's unsurprisingly responsive. And with that, let's now talk about optics. With the GT5, Realme is pretty much Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V the camera setup from the GT3. So the primary is Sony's 50 megapixel IMX890, it's paired with an optically stabilized f1.9 lens, and it continues to do well. We've seen the sensor on so many phones by this point that there is really nothing new for me to say about it. Realme's processing seems good, and so's the dynamic range. The colors seem to be on point for the most part, and even under low light, this camera, it fares reasonably well. Now the secondary, that's an 8 megapixel ultra wide, and it's quite average. Colors from time to time, they don't match well with the primary. The image looks brighter, but with less dynamic range. I wouldn't call it bad, just average. Then we have the third macro, which is, well, a third macro. Now on the video front, the GT5 is capped to 4K 60. I'm not sure why, given the hardware is definitely 8K capable, but I don't think it's that big a deal since the 4K 60 footage, it turned out well. The selfie camera, that remains unchanged too, yet another very popular S5K 3P9 Samsung sensor, 16 megapixels. And I like the selfies I took with it. Like with most Chinese brands not named Huawei, this phone is also restricted to 1080p via that selfie camera. This is 1080p 30 video coming out of this selfie camera, and there's supposed to be stabilization. So this is the shot I took to test it. And for anyone who wants to know how the mic pickup is, it's pretty noisy here. So let me know how it is. Now before we talk pricing, let me walk you through the unboxing experience. This is the box the GT5 comes in. The 240 watts, that gets a few extra mentions here. Opening up the box, we are greeted by this black insert. This one, it houses a SIM ejector tool, a couple of informational booklets, and a soft case. Next, we have the Realme GT5 itself. Let's remove it from its protective cover. Also peel the sticker off the back. This phone also comes with a screen protector pre-applied that I'm gonna remove to be able to showcase the display better. Now as the Realme GT5 boots up, let's dig further in. Next up, we've got a white USB Type-C to Type-C cable with white accents. And finally, here's that 240 watt SuperVOOC charger. Now as far as pricing goes, the Realme GT5 starts at 2999 RMB, the same price as the OnePlus Ace 2 Pro. The 240 watt version, the one with 24 gigs of RAM and a terabyte of storage, that's priced at 3799. This phone's predecessor, it launched at 2599 RMB, so Realme's hiked the base price by 15% with this one. As much as I find this phone interesting and I like what Realme's done, I'm not a fan of prices going up every generation. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, and thanks for watching. Bye bye.